Did Halloween Ends have 2 test screenings? All right, so before I jump into this video, it's Jimmy from the future here. After I shot the first version that you're about to see, Jamie Lee Curtis actually announced that we will be getting the Halloween Ends trailer on July 20th, which is 1 week from today. That actually worked out for me because as you'll see, this video is about the leaked costume that came out over the weekend and the test screenings for Halloween Ends. I just didn't know if I was gonna have another Halloween video this week, so I wanted to jump in first and let you know that the trailer is coming July 20th. It's finally happening. The marketing is kicking up for Halloween Ends. Obviously, could not be more excited, and you'll kind of hear why in the rest of this video because we actually have some really good news surrounding the movie to talk about. So without further ado, let's jump into the video. Just want to let you know that I saw it so I didn't get a billion comments down below telling me that, oh, Jamie Lee Curtis said the trailer's coming out July 20th. Thanks, guys. How's it going, everyone? As always, my name is Jimmy Champane, and if you like monsters, slashers, pretty much any movie shot during, set during, or inspired by the 1980s, this is the channel for you. Today, I have 2 Halloween Ends news stories for you guys. First of all, we have to talk about this supposed leaked costume that came out over the weekend while I was still in Michigan, and also Halloween Ends officially had its test screening. So this is an all Halloween video. I'm super excited to dive into it. If you're really enjoying these videos and you want to be updated on my thoughts around everything horror, make sure you're subscribed to the channel with your notifications set to all, and maybe even check out my Twitter at Jimmy Champane. Both options are great. I would just love to get to 50,000 subscribers. It's always been a goal for me, so if you can help me get there, that would be awesome. All right, so first of all, let's talk about Halloween Ends and Michael Myers' look, because this has become a very contentious subject online. We have heard so many different rumors about his mask being stitched together. We've heard that it's going to be kind of like Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I was able to exclusively drop the news that the mask is pretty much going to look the same that it did in Halloween Kills with just a few changes. I also got a little bit more info on that mask since I uploaded the video. So yeah, there's a lot to talk about here, but let's talk about what happened this weekend. So there's a Twitter account that's like a movie leaker called ViewerAnon. They have leaked a ton of stuff over the years and they have a pretty stellar track record. But over the weekend, it looks like unfortunately they might have gotten tricked because basically, I'll just run down it because you probably already seen it. A source sent them a picture of what supposedly Michael's gonna look like in Halloween Ends, and it looks very similar to what we saw in Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, but instead of having a tattered mask that's torn in half, he is just rocking straight up no mask. And as someone who builds a lot of Lego sets, a lot of model kits, a lot of dioramas, as soon as I saw this picture, I basically knew that it was a diorama. Honestly, the quality is so good of this diorama and figure that it reminds me of 2 of my favorite custom collectible channels, and I guess hobby channels, Boyle Hobby Time, where I learned all of my model making stuff, and of course Cosplay Chris. He's one of the best cosplay prop makers, custom collectible makers on YouTube. If you haven't checked his channel out, he is awesome. But yeah, the quality of this was really good and it tricked a lot of people, not just ViewerAnon. I saw a lot of other stuff going around, and just the overall look of this figure is basically like a hobo version of Michael Myers. He's got a big hood that's covering the top half of his face. He's got a huge butcher knife where basically the handle was moved to the bottom so it looks more sickle-like. It's a really simple change, but it looks pretty cool. He's got like a little string tied around him, and honestly, I can see why people thought this might be real because we know that the working title of Halloween Ends is Cave Dweller. We know that there's a time jump from Halloween Kills to Halloween Ends, so it would make sense for after killing Karen, Michael just wanders off into the woods and has to heal up and live out there for 4 years until he comes back at full force in Halloween 2022 is when I think Halloween Ends takes place. Yes, Halloween night 2022. So let's break this down. The first thing I want to point out is that I am like 90 to 99% sure that this is not what Michael Myers is going to look like in any part of the movie. It looks like a fan mock-up based on some descriptions, and if we do see Michael living in the woods, I don't know if that's going to happen. It just seems like, I'll explain in a sec. If we do see Michael in the woods, it'll probably be during like an intro montage that shows us like the 4-year gap between Halloween Kills and Ends. That's the only way I could ever imagine seeing Michael come back in this shape. See what I did there? The other thing I want to point out is I am not saying that Michael Myers does not have 2 different looks in the movie, because truthfully, I don't know. He could have like 5 different looks. I have no idea. All I know is about the one look that I've seen that I've talked about here on the channel, and that look is pretty much exactly the same as Halloween Kills, with a few changes just so they can sell a Trick or Treat Studios mask. And those changes, from what I've seen, are like a little bit of mold, it looks like. I don't really want to get too much into detail, but yeah, it's pretty much the Halloween Kills look with a little bit of moldy, aged look to it. And I like that. I think that looks great. I like that classic Michael Myers look that's aged to like be 40 years later or 44 years later at this point. Totally fine with that. No issues there. And I just want to point out, with how prevalent leaks are out in the internet these days with movies, it really sucks. I hate it that everything leaks. Like, everything that's supposed to be a surprise in any movie basically leaks before the movie comes out. And there's like a whole subculture of different leakers. Obviously, when you're talking about so many details that aren't confirmed, right? They're coming from inside sources, and maybe it's like a game of telephone. Stuff slips through the cracks. It's happened to everyone, myself included. So all these people who are kind of going after ViewerAnon here and like saying that he's not trustworthy or they aren't trustworthy, I think that's a little too far, maybe even a lot too far. I followed this person for a long time and they do a great job. This is like 1 in a million time where they screw up. And don't be mean to people online. It's so cringe when screw ups happen like this and people are just dogpiling these people who are just trying to have a good time talking about movies. I mean, that's what I'm doing here. So yeah, as for Hobo Michael, that leak we saw was definitely a custom figure. You can tell just by looking at the little jack-o'-lantern in the bottom right corner. I think that's the one that comes along with the Michael Myers hot toy. You can't see it because it's on that shelf like that I'm pointing at right now. I have that, and it comes along with the Halloween 1 pumpkin, and it looks awesome. It just obviously looks like a toy little pumpkin, and yeah, you can just tell it's a diorama, but it's a really good diorama, and I don't want to like shit on this dude's work because he has a YouTube video where he kind of shows off the diorama, and it's really cool. It's like a custom concept that kind of got mixed into this whole Halloween Ends thing. Would I want to see it in Halloween Ends? No. I mean, such a big deal was made in Halloween Kills about him needing the mask to be on his face. Like, he had Allison dead to rights, but Karen took the mask off his head and he chased after her because that was more important to him than killing Allison. So him removing the mask to be Hobo Michael Myers throughout the year, I guess you could explain it because like he's Michael Myers during the year in the shape on Halloween, but that's a little too overcomplicated. So yeah, I feel like in this movie, I just want to see the classic look of Michael Myers just aged how we've seen it before throughout the entire thing. I don't think that's too crazy or too much to ask. So with that out of the way, let's talk about the Halloween Ends test screening. So I've been kind of waiting to talk about this because details just keep coming out, and I've had that happen before where I record a video and by the time I edit it, the story is completely changed. But enough stuff is out there at this point where I feel comfortable talking about it. So at the time of filming this, Halloween Ends has had its test screening. It was very similar to the one for Halloween Kills in that it was public, but instead of happening in LA, this time it allegedly happened in New York and New Jersey. And I've actually known about this for a few days now, thanks to my friend BSL or BigScreenLeaks, and they actually released some really cool info that this was not the only test screening. There were 2 test screenings that happened last night, and they showed 2 different cuts of the movie. Now, I would imagine that one of those cuts is the pre-reshoot version of the movie, and the other cut has all of the reshot footage replacing that other footage. So it honestly reminds me of Halloween 2018, where they did a test screening for that movie, and I guess it didn't go over all that well, which is what initiated the reshoots for the ending, which I personally think largely worked out pretty well. From everything I've heard and seen about the original ending, what we ultimately got is a lot better, so that's an instance of test screenings really doing their job. And Halloween Kills, as far as I'm aware, had very minimal to no reshoots at all. It had that public test screening. The test screening went over super well, like people absolutely loved the movie, and then the movie came out and critics didn't like it, and it basically split the Halloween fan base into 2. But this time around, like I mentioned, we're going back to the Halloween 2018 way, where we have 2 different cuts of the movie being showed to 2 different audiences, and interestingly, things are very similar to Halloween 2018. So I'm just going to do some broad strokes reactions that I've heard through the grapevine. One of the cuts was really good. The audience apparently was like cheering at certain moments of the movie. There's scary moments, there's kills. It's a lot more similar to Halloween 2018, where critics are probably going to love this movie. That's basically what I've heard about one cut. The second screening, on the other hand, I heard did not go over so well. Like, it was very divisive. divisive. I didn't hear that this is like the worst Halloween movie or anything. I've just heard that word divisive used a lot about this second screening, like people weren't cheering along as much, they weren't having as much fun, and this one probably wouldn't do as well with critics or fans and would basically split everyone in half, which I don't know if I can handle a movie like that anymore. I can't take the discourse where basically your entire identity has to be linked to liking or hating a movie. Like you're either a full-on ride or die Halloween ends this cut stan, or you're a ride or die Halloween ends this cut hater, and you have to be that person. No in the middle opinions. I'm exhausted by that stuff. It's happening way too much lately. So yeah, I don't know what the right answer is here though, because I haven't seen either of these cuts, and there's some examples in the past with Halloween of test screenings going really well and the movie turning out to be super divisive, like Halloween Kills, and then test screenings going not so great, and then they change the ending of the movie and it turns out getting really great reviews and ends up being the most profitable Halloween movie, which is what we saw with Halloween 2018. But what I really like from what I'm seeing here is an evolution and like learning on Universal and Blumhouse's part. They were obviously super confident coming off of Halloween 2018. It made so much money, it got such great reviews, it actually made most of the fans happy. Like generally, I would say Halloween 2018 is one of the best received Halloween sequels since I don't even know when, because I wasn't alive for most of the sequels coming out. But still, the reactions to Halloween 2018 were really good. That obviously gave Universal and Blumhouse a lot of confidence, and I think it's fair to say they were overconfident for Halloween Kills, right? They had a ton of legacy characters coming back. They threw in Haddonfield Memorial Hospital. They used Halloween 2 footage, which is still like kind of annoying to me every time I watch the movie, and it didn't really have too much plot advancement. It felt like a really long full movie that was an extended ending for Halloween 2018. I still really like it. It reminds me of Halloween 4. I'm on record saying that, but I can see why people who came into Halloween 2018 and really loved it might not have loved Halloween Kills. So with that info in mind, it seems like Blumhouse and Universal have really learned their lesson here, and they're recalibrating. They're not only reshooting parts of the movie that they're not sure worked, they're also showing two different cuts of the movie to two different audiences, and I'm sure they're collecting data on both cuts. And who's to say that certain parts of one screening might not have worked that worked in the other one, and vice versa, so that they can kind of like zipper them together and make an ultimate Halloween Ends cut. I've never edited a movie. I've edited a few movies. I don't know why I just said that, but I've never worked in like a theatrical production house, right? Like I don't know what the protocol is here, but obviously they want this movie to be the best it can be, and I'm personally not super worried about this. They have two cuts of the movie. They're obviously collecting data. Everyone working on this movie is super experienced in both the movie industry and also with the Halloween franchise at this point. A lot of the people apparently who worked on Halloween 2018 stuck around for Kills and stuck around for Ends in a way that I guess is uncommon in the movie industry. So these people, I think at the end of the day, while the ultimate goal is to make money because it's the movie industry, I feel like all the people working on it just want to make something really good that's going to make fans, critics, and everyone who sees this movie really happy and have a lot of fun around Halloween. And I can't fault them for that goal. So just like I said back in 2018, when everyone was losing their minds about a negative test screening and reshot endings and all of this different stuff, hold your horses, pump the brakes, don't let anyone tell you what to think. I see so many people online saying, yup, we're getting reshoots of Halloween Ends, that basically means the movie's doomed, and I just see so many people parroting exactly what these people are saying. They don't know anything more than you do, or I do. They haven't seen the movie, so don't let them taint your hype or make you not excited for something that you were looking forward to. Make your own opinions. That's basically what I'm about here on the channel. So yeah, do I think it's cool that they did reshoots? Yes. Reshoots happen on pretty much any movie you've ever seen, whether you know about it or not. Sometimes it's a lot more obvious than others, and I don't like it when it's obvious, but with Halloween 2018, it's not very obvious, even if you've seen footage of the original ending. And next, do I think it's good that they did two test screenings? Yes, because it's showing that they learned from the last movie and that they want to get this right, and that the people working on the movie care about it. They're not just throwing it out there, crossing their fingers, hoping it makes a ton of money, like, I don't know, some other studios might. So at the time I'm recording this, I actually don't know if it's gonna go up before or after my trailer reaction for Halloween Ends, because Jason Blum, right before I sat down to record, tweeted, guess what I saw last night, and then he said Halloween Ends right after, and that basically got everyone going, myself included, waiting for this trailer. So I said, while I wait, I'll record this video I've had on my docket here. This is some inside inside baseball stuff. And yeah, just before I end the video, for new viewers who are watching till the end, thanks for sticking around. And also saw a few comments on my last video from people who I guess are new. I've always done multiple topic videos since I started this channel, but for some reason, me talking about the black phone at the beginning of my last video rubbed a couple people the wrong way. I don't really care. I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. That's how I run this channel. If you want videos that are like 2 to 5 minutes long that are just reading Twitter for you, those videos are out there. This channel, I try to go into it a little bit more and make it fun for people to talk about in the comments. So if you like that, help me out by subscribing and setting your notifications to all.